They say the game belongs to the tall, that the paint is where the Giants dominate. But then there's the point guard, a player who defies expectation, someone who changes the game, even when outsized by those around them.
And that Drew rim, it's still loose, Luka got it back!
But still, we never tire of hearing that the point guard position is becoming less and less important. In fact, the pure point guard is practically extinct in the modern NBA, isn't it? The current ones are players whose mission, on many occasions, is just to get buckets. That's why today I've compiled the most incredible takeover moments that point guards have created so far this decade. Historic games that have been engraved in the memory of all the fans who saw them play. Impressive performances, not only from a statistical standpoint of view, but that also prove the league's need for undersized players to remain part of the elite. These are some of the moments when point guards were completely unstoppable. And what better way to start than with who, for many, is the greatest point guard of all time? Of course, we're talking about Stephen Curry. The Bay Area legend has starred in dozens of incredible performances since 2020, but if there's one to keep, I'll take this one. In what was one of the first games of the post-bubble NBA, Steph faced the Portland Trail Blazers. But that night, to say that he only faced them is a stretch, because he simply destroyed them. With a performance of 62 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, Steph showed Damian Lillard who was the ultimate scoring guard of his generation. But he also did it with incredible efficiency, with 58% from the field, 50% in three-pointers, and 95% in free throws. His true shooting percentage that night was 79%.
Draymond finds him another three, got it!
And the Blazers defense could do absolutely nothing to stop Steph, who just took over the game, deploying all of his offensive arsenal. In fact, that has been, even to this day, the best scoring night of Curry's entire career. The Warriors, of course, ended up winning the game. An honorable mention goes to Steph's game in the first round of the 2023 playoffs, specifically in Game 7. The Warriors were having a lot of trouble overcoming the Sacramento Kings in the series, who had really been one of the revelations of the regular season. Plus, his teammates were not in the best moment of their careers, so Steph had to put the team on his back. However, the 50 points he scored in the Warriors' victory show that he had no problem doing it. All that after winning his 4th NBA championship just a few months earlier. One thing is certain, however, we can't mention Lillard just being a spectator at one of these games in this video, because the Bucks point guard has also had incredible performances over the past few seasons. But there are two that stand out above the rest. On February 26, 2023, when Damian was still part of the Portland Trail Blazers roster, he made a game for the ages. Portland was facing the Houston Rockets that night, and the Blazers were playing for the playoff spot in the West, as the season wasn't going too well. So Lillard put on his best fit to deliver what was probably the best performance of his entire career.
Dame, a deep one. Buried it! Damian Lillard!
That night, Damian went for 71. Yes, you heard that right, 71 points that he scored with an 80.4% true shooting percentage, with splits of 58, 59, and 100. And everyone knows that the number 0 is one of the most dangerous when he's hot. That night, Lillard broke the record for scoring by a point guard in a game, a record that was more than 60 years old since Jerry West scored 63 in a win against the New York Knicks in 1962. But it wasn't enough for Damian to break the record. He had to destroy it and beat Jerry's career high by 8 points. Still, that may not be Lillard's most incredible performance in recent years, because there was another game in which, although he scored less, he did it in an even more incredible way. It was the 2021 playoffs, and Portland needed a win to close the gap in the series against the Denver Nuggets. And that night, it looked like Damian was playing 2K on rookie level. He not only had 55 points, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists, he did it with completely surreal shots that allowed Portland to win in the second overtime. Believe me, it's the performance that best defines a heat check in modern league history. With all those crazy selected shots, he really got members of the Nuggets literally thanking God for missing one of them. And if you don't believe me, look at Austin Rivers. Next on the list is none other than a former MVP. People have already forgotten about Russell Westbrook's season with the Washington Wizards, but he was a real problem. A player who to this day is criticized for still showing ambition to stay on an NBA roster, but who not long ago was an unstoppable player. His time of dropping 50 bombs was over, but Russell was capable of dominating games in another way. On March 29th, 2021, while still wearing the Capital City team colors, Westbrook put on an incredible performance against the Indiana Pacers. 35 points, 14 rebounds, and 21 assists in one of the most outrageous triple-doubles we've seen in recent seasons. Not even his haters could criticize his efficiency that day, as Westbrook shot 14 of 26 from the field and 4 of 6 from three-point range.
Westbrook against Turner again, step back for three, Russell Westbrook does it!
But that night, he got all his Wizards teammates involved in the offense to help Washington beat Indiana 132-124. The Pacers had a better record, but the duo of Russell and Bradley Beal got Washington into the playoffs for that season. And while his career may not have gone the way he would have liked it since then, Westbrook had already written his name in the history books. It was January 3rd, 2022 when we got to see another memorable performance from another point guard. That night, Trae Young's Atlanta Hawks were once again facing Damian Lillard's Portland Trail Blazers. But this time, it was the Hawks point guard who stole the headlines. Trae signed a performance of 56 points, 4 rebounds, and 14 assists that night in one of the most incredible offensive displays in recent seasons.
He's going to get one more shot at it. And banks it in for 56.
He did it with incredible efficiency, with an 86% in true shooting percentage. But the most incredible thing is that even the Atlanta Hawks, who were tremendously weakened by injuries, couldn't do anything because they ended up losing the game by 5 points. What else did Trae have to do to get a single regular season win? Can someone bring this man some help? To close the video, what better than to visit what probably has been the best performance of a point guard so far this decade? And yes, I know there are going to be people who are going to say that he is not a point guard, but for all practical purposes, Luka Doncic should count as one. Now, on January 26th, 2024, Luka had a game for the ages. The Mavs were facing the Atlanta Hawks and had not yet had time to maximize team chemistry. That's why Doncic had to put on the superhero costume. The Slovenian scored 73 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists that night with absurd percentages. 76% from the field, 62% in three-pointers, and 94% in free throws for a total of 91% in true shooting percentage. Nothing could go wrong that day.
Luka splits a double, keeps the dribble alive, all the way to the hoop, scoop to the hoop with a ball!
And the proof of that is the fact that that performance to this day is the second highest game scored in NBA history. Do you know what is the only game that surpasses it? The one played by Michael Jordan on March 28th, 1990. In that game in which his airness got 69 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yes, we're talking about the game that was played 34 years earlier. That performance by Luka may be the best individual performance in the modern NBA. However, it's not the only one, because Doncic on December 27th, 2022 had another unreal performance. Against the New York Knicks, not only did the guard manage to get another triple-double of 60 points, 21 rebounds, and 10 assists, he also came back from a game that was lost with seconds to go.
Tim and Luka, fourth and fifth. Oh, give and go!
With a missed free throw on purpose that forced the game into overtime, it seemed like the script of a Hollywood movie, but it wasn't. It was reality. And with that game, Luka established himself as one of the best players in the best basketball league in the world. I know that some unforgettable performances have been left out, featuring games like Kyrie's 60-point game against the Magic or Jalen Brunson's 61-point game against the Spurs. Plus, players like Lillard could have made this list 5 more times if we are being honest. I couldn't fit them all in one video, so these have been the most spectacular point guard takeovers of the 2020s. Now, which one was your favorite? What's that one game you'll still remember 30 years from now?